Please.
Okay, so we're going to have a look now at number 11. In number 11, part 1, find the tangent. So write out your equation of a straight line, because a tangent is a straight line. You're told the x1 is -1 and the y1 is 2. Do you remember how to get the gradient of a tangent? You have to differentiate it and put in your x value. So your gradient is 2. Putting it in and tidying it up. Part 2, they want the normal in part 2. So what's the equation of a normal? It's a straight line, only it's -1 over m. Here's your y. Differentiate it. And remember, put your x point in. And this time the x point is 4. So your normal is -1/2. So you put in here your 4 for your x1, your 12 for your y1, and your -1/2. Now 1 over a fraction just turns it upside down, and 2 minuses give you a positive, and then just tidy it up. And they're the same. And that was it for that wee one. Question 19, or 15, sorry. Right, find where the curve meets the x-axis. Remember how to do that? You put y equals 0. So don't multiply this out, it's already been factorised for you. So put each bit equal to 0. Remember the y already is 0, and that shows you where it crosses the x-axis, or it meets the x-axis. Now, we want the turning points. We've got a big problem here because you can't differentiate anything in a bracket. So that's x minus 2 times x minus 2. So times out your bracket, then times it all through by x to give you x3. That's minus 4x times an x is minus 4x squared plus 4x. So what we're trying to do again, turning points. So differentiate it, put it equal to 0. You either factorise or use the formula. I chose to factorise here. That's the AC method. AC is 12, so it's a 6 and a 2. I want a -8, so it's -6 and -2. So -8x is -6x, -2x. Factorise the first two, factorise the next two, and pull out that bracket. So it's x minus 2, 3x minus 2. Put each bit equals 0, get the x. Now remember a turning point? You've got the x, you need to work out the y. Here's my y equation. Or you could use that one if you want, it doesn't matter, any y equation. Put your x in, and then put your other x in, and that's your points. And remember, you have to find the nature. Always, always, always find the nature. So you've got to differentiate again. So there's my first differential up at the top. Differentiate it again, and put in your x's. Put in 2/3, and then put in 2. This one is under 0, so it's a maximum. So it goes up and down. This one is on above 0, so it's a minimum. So it goes down and up. And then it's just join the dots in your wee graph. Number 16 is difficult. Okay. So we've got a piece of land. Right, I've got for three sides. He uses fencing, which is £5 a metre. So that length is y, and it's £5 for each metre, so that's 5y. Then the other side is 5y. The bottom one, sorry, this one here is 5 metres as well, so it's 5x. And the other side is 12 metres, so it's 10x. So lots of different things going on here. So the total cost is 15x add 10y, and you're told that equals 600. And you can rearrange that. Bring your 15x over and divide everything by 10 to get your y. The area of that, if you go back to your initial picture, this was the cost that I drew out. Your initial picture, the area is x times y. So x times your y times it out. Now, we want shall I have a look here? Hence, or find the dimensions which give maximum. There's that keyword maximum. So you're going to differentiate it. It's not dy, it's dA by dx. Differentiate that. Okay. Whenever you want a maximum, you put it equal to 0. Differentiate, put it equal to 0. Get your x value. You need the second derivative. So if you differentiate this again, you get -3. And you don't have to sub anything in. That's good to go at that. Because it's under 0, means it's maximum. You've got your x, work out your y. And that is it. That was quite tricky now, to be fair. Number 3, hopefully you can spot the x in the bottom. Bring it up as an x to the -1. differentiate once and differentiate twice. Okay, over the page. These ones are so long. Find where it crosses the x-axis. Crosses the x-axis and y is 0. So don't multiply that out. Just put each bit equal to 0 and that tells you your answer. Turning points. I have to multiply it out for the turning points. Differentiate. Remember turning points is when it equals 0. Get your x. Don't forget to get your y. And then do your nature. So differentiate it again. There's my first differential, second differential. Bigger than 0, so it's minimum. And then join the dots. See, the big quadratic is much, much simpler than the cubics. Cubics are very long. Okay. Next we one. Number 13, if I can find that. Equation of the normal. So write out your formula. So equation of a line. Remember, normal is minus 1 over m. You're told your x and y, which is great news. There's your x minus 1. There's your y is 2. The gradient, m. So you differentiate it. Put in your x value. There's your gradient. So it's minus 1 over minus a half. Tidy it all up. And there you go. Number 16. These wordy ones are horrible. Right. That 1,000 minus 2x is per person. And if x people goes, that's going to be the total amount of money they're bringing in. 1,000x minus 2x squared. Right. Now what's the profit? Right. This is how much money they're bringing in. They have to pay out £20,000 to the airline and £400 for each person. So 400 times x. That's what they have to pay out. Then if you tidy that up, you get this one. I want the question... want maximum profit. So, how do you find the maximum? That's your keyword. Differentiate, set it equal to 0. So that was 600 minus 4x, that disappears, but equals 0, you get your x. Don't forget to do your second derivative. Always differentiate a second time. Minus 4 under 0, so it's maximum. So you've got your x, and then the next bit of the question, find the cost per person. So the cost per person was 1,000 minus 2x. So x is 150, and you just work that out to get 700. Right, next one. Can you spot it? The x comes up as a minus 3. Differentiate once, differentiate twice. It does get very, very repetitive if you do a few of these. Equation of the normal. Write it out. You're told the point 1 minus 1, so that's a 1 and that's a minus 1. Put your numbers in. Your gradient, over to the side, y equals, differentiate, put in your x value, get your gradient. In it goes. Always needs to be minus a half in these papers. And then tidy up. This question goes on a wee bit. And it says, find the coordinates of the point P. And it says in the question, P is where it cuts the x-axis. Remember, anything cuts the x-axis when y is 0. So put y equals 0. And you'll get P to be 3 over 2 and 0. Then it says find Q. Q is where it cuts the y-axis. So you put x equals 0. And work out that. And then the next bit wants the area. Now I had to draw out a picture to try and see what was going on here. If you draw out a wee picture, you can see your triangle. And the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. So the base or the height, whatever way around you want to do it, it's 1.5 times 3 divided by 2 units squared. Okay, number 15, another wordy one. Right, we picture here as well. The pond is x times y. Okay, the tarmac is the big rectangle. Now the big rectangle, if you watch my finger, is y plus 4 times x add 2. So it's y plus 4 times x add 2. Multiply out the bracket and then take away the pond. You're left with this. Okay. Now, having a wee look to see if we get any extra information here. Yeah, it says there, just down there, the surface area of the pond is 100. So this, the pond, remember was xy? That was it. Put it equal to 100. So you can now write y equals, take this y, put it in there. Give you your area in terms of x's. So tidy that up. Okay, we want the minimum or is that key word? You've got to differentiate. You can't differentiate x in the bottom, so bring it up as a -1. Differentiate, put it equal to 0. Now remember what x to the -2 means? It means x squared in the bottom. Then I brought this over to make it positive. Bring this up to multiply it. Bring your 4 over to divide, and square root it. Don't forget to do the nature. Okay, there's your first derivative. Differentiate again to get the nature. And you then, oh sorry, if you can see there, that's me putting my x value in. It's positive, which means it's a minimum. So I've got my x. You've got to work out your y. Hard wee question that, to be fair. Okay, now, I think we'll pause there for this video.